They went further than just killing them. They slaughtered their living machines and burned their vast shining cities with SCP-1000's bioweapons, reduced everything to slurry and dust that washed or blew away in spring rain and wind. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter-class object SCP-1000. SCP-1000, also known as Bigfoot, is a nocturnal, omnivorous ape classified in the hominini branch adults range in size from 5 to 10 feet in height and weigh between 90 and 270 kilograms. They have gray-brown, black, red, and occasionally white fur. They possess large eyes with good vision, a pronounced brow ridge, and a sagittal crest on the forehead similar to that of the gorilla, but present in both sexes. Their intelligence is on par with that of common chimpanzee. SCP-1000 evolved alongside humans until 10,000 to 15,000 years ago, when an extinction event eliminated 95 to 99% of their population. This event was triggered by 1000 contracting an anomalous pseudo-disease classified as SCP-1000-F1. This disease is passed on at the genetic level, but the majority of SCP-1000 instances are born immune to the effect. Those who are not born immune quickly die. SCP-1000-F1 will affect only hominids, including humans, that directly or indirectly observes any instances of SCP-1000. The observer has a minimum 2% chance of being instantly killed through anomalous means, via permanent cessation of brain function. This percentage is cumulative, and the longer a human views 1000, the chance of instantaneous death increases. This effect varies between individual members of SCP-1000 species, with some individuals carrying a death chance of 90%. Because of SCP-1000's close relation to humanity, it is considered likely that SCP-1000-F1 could eventually transfer to human carriers, which would lead to an apocalyptic scenario. Fortunately, 1000 appears to instinctively avoid human contact. The highest known population concentrations of 1000 are in the Pacific Northwest region of North America and the Himalayan mountain range in Asia. But they have also been documented within the past 5 years on every continent. All known significant populations of 1000 located near human population centers have been eliminated. SCP-1000 was first known by the Foundation via contact by the Children of the Sun. The Children of the Sun is a group of people who identified themselves as outcast members of the Serpent's Hand. This group has since been completely destroyed by the Foundation due to their reluctance to surrender information about SCP-1000 and other SCP. Remaining members have either joined the Foundation or have gone into hiding, presumably as members of the Serpent's Hand. All media reports related to 1000 are to be examined for potential verifiability. All organizations and individuals investigating 1000's existence are to be kept under surveillance by Mobile Task Force Zeta-1000 and discredited or administered amnestics. All physical signs of 1000's existence must be retrieved and kept in Foundation custody and replaced with decoy items if necessary. Alleged sightings of 1000 must always be investigated by MTF Zeta-1000, however trivial the claim. Absolutely no contact with wild or captive instances of 1000 is allowed, without prior approval by Director Jones. Any interaction between SCP-1000 and humans, including Foundation personnel, must be reported to Director Jones immediately. Personnel with clearance level 3/1000 or above are required to read Document Alpha 1596-1000. Level 3 clearance required. You are attempting to access a Security Level 3 file. You have been warned. Displaying SCP-1000 Clearance Level 3. Document Alpha 1596-1000 is a letter written by Director Jones revealing the truth about SCP-1000, which means all information I mentioned previously is not entirely true. Yes, SCP-1000 is Bigfoot. I'm sure you've snickered. Don't worry. Contrary to rumors, this is actually not something humorous. You think Bigfoot is funny because we want you to think Bigfoot is funny. We've bankrolled Hollywood comedies, paid off men in gorilla suits, bribed and brainwashed cartoonists to get especially silly depictions on children's television. Even the term Bigfoot comes from us, planted in the media in 1958. Why? We'll get to that. There are 2 direct lies, and plenty of lies of omission. There is no such thing as the anomalous pseudo-disease referred to as SCP-1000-F1. 1000 does not possess a magical death aura. And they are not chimp-level smart. They're smarter. To be precise, they are exactly as smart as us. And that's exactly why the report is filled with lies, and why it's categorized as a Keter object. SCP-1000 did evolve alongside humans. They work in the nighttime while we humans operate in the daytime, and that's how the name, the Children of the Sun, came from. But while we were still hunting and gathering, they made things that we still can't comprehend, like shining cities that stretched across glaciers and penetrating the deepest caverns. They made trees and birds of prey grow into fast-moving ships, herds of animals that became trains, bushes that became flying vehicles. From insects and pigeons, they made things equivalent to cell phones, televisions, computers, atomic bombs. Part of this was due to SCP-1000's population exploded across the night, and they blanketed the planet in the tens of billions. We were rare, like gorillas now, a few 100,000 left at best. We avoided their settlements, just like wild animals today avoid ours. 1000 understood we were intelligent like them. They saw us as fairies, as gnomes, ascribed us supernatural powers, said we ate bad children while they slept in daylight. Then, SCP-1000 civilization fell, and humanity was the cause of it. We wiped out 70% of SCP-1000's population in a single day. People call it the Day of Flowers, because most of the instances of 1000 died in their sleep on the day every flower bloomed. As for how, the only hint is that a trickster forest god showed humanity favor, gave us the master's tools, and showed us how to use them. The reasons why our ancestors did it are still unknown. Perhaps SCP-1000 hunted us. Perhaps they were simply afraid. We simply do not know what the truth is. But humans went further than just killing them, and somehow acquired SCP-1000's own technology. And with it, they instigated an SK-class dominance shift, in which humanity became the dominant species of Earth. With a few of the more twisted of SCP-1000's devices, they drove the survivors mad, even those hiding beyond their reach. They trapped them in their own minds, blocking higher functions and leaving their bodies to fend for themselves like any ordinary ape. They slaughtered their living machines and burned their vast shining cities with SCP-1000's bioweapons that reduced everything to slurry and dust, that washed or blew away in spring rain and wind. Our ancestors left no traces, not even their own memory. They wiped out any knowledge of 1000 and the greatest civilization the planet had ever seen. Only a few humans protected themselves from the effect, kept the forbidden knowledge, just in case. The rest of the humans went back to hunting and gathering. Now the real problem is that 1000 are somehow regaining their forgotten intelligence and knowledge. Maybe they never truly lost it. This is why the increase in sightings of them is so worrying. 1000 are just like us. That's exactly what makes them so dangerous. Instances of 1000 have tried to make contact with Foundation personnel on multiple occasions. The following is a rough translation of recent SCP-1000 attempt at communication with Foundation personnel. We forgive you. Given choice for now, not forever. Let us back in. I stumble back, begin to run away as my fear catches in my throat, emerging as a strangled cry. I alternate between turning around and glancing back over my shoulder, desperate to escape, but unwilling to let the thing out of my sight. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-3166. SCP-3166 is a 2.1 meter tall humanoid entity, presumed pataphysical in nature, known to manifest during periods when the Garfield media franchise is performing poorly in terms of public reception. The exterior layer of SCP-3166's body resembles a crudely made costume of the character Garfield, which field inspection has shown to be composed of legitimate cat fur. However, analysis of SCP-3166's composition in the field has shown that its interior mass is composed entirely out of pasta, specifically lasagna. SCP-3166 will appear in the vicinity of a suitable individual, hereafter referred to as the target, and move towards their location. Known targets of SCP-3166 have included individuals prominently involved in rival media to the Garfield franchise, individuals formerly involved in the production of the Garfield comic strip, individuals involved in parodies of the Garfield franchise, vocal critics of the Garfield franchise, and last but not least, Garfield creator Jim Davis. This has only occurred on occasions where the negative reception Garfield was receiving could be traced back to Mr. Davis's poor management of the franchise. Upon reaching its target, 3166 will attempt to inflict bodily harm upon them through a mixture of blunt force using nearby objects and force-feeding of lasagna. The lasagna was obtained through self-disembowelment. During this process, SCP-3166 will vocalize by meowing, purring, and screeching in the manner of an extremely agitated cat. Lasagna outside SCP-3166's mass has proven to be an effective form of bait for 3166. Upon seeing the lasagna, SCP-3166 will abandon its original goal and instead attempt to incorporate the pasta into itself. SCP-3166 first manifested on the 23rd of October 1989 within the Chicago offices of United Media, who were the publishers of the Garfield comic strip at the time. Upon manifestation, 3166 wandered around the offices in a confused and distressed manner, before indiscriminately assaulting any individuals present after security attempted to apprehend it. It disappeared 20 minutes later. Foundation agents responding to the situation distributed amnestics as appropriate. Over the course of the following week, similar manifestations took place at several United Media offices around the country, ending on the 29th of October 1989. Following that date, 3166 altered its behavior to its current form. The week of Garfield comic strips below, beginning on the 23rd of October 1989, was believed to be its pataphysical awakening. Day 1, the 23rd of October 1989. Garfield woke up from a sleep and felt an eerie sensation. As he was walking out of his room, he did not feel right, as if the place was not his own home. Day 2, the 24th of October 1989. He felt lonely because the house was empty. John was not home, and so was Odie. Day 3, the 25th of October 1989. Garfield thought to himself, John must be at the grocery. There was a for sale sign outside of his house, and the house looks like it had been abandoned for a long time. Day 4, the 26th of October 1989. Garfield had the shock of his life. If the house had been abandoned for a long time, it means that he has not lived there for many years. Day 5, the 27th of October 1989. Garfield welcomed John and Odie, and they brought home his food. However, this was entirely Garfield's imagination. Garfield grappled with his greatest fear, loneliness. Day 6, the 28th of October 1989. This strip started with a drawing of a horrified eye, and it wrote, "After years of taking life for granted, Garfield is shaken by a horrifying vision of the inevitable process called time." Garfield cried out, "I don't want to be alone." At the corner end of the comic strip wrote, "An imagination is a powerful tool. It can tint memories of the past, shape perceptions of the present, or paint a future so vivid that it can entice or terrify, all depending upon how we conduct ourselves today." Initially, individuals involved with production of Garfield comic strips claimed to have no memory on working on that week's strips. All researchers working on 3166 containment are to familiarize themselves on this material. Using tissue samples taken by Agent Mueller during SCP-316's most recent manifestation, genetic analysis of the meat present within the lasagna has shown it to be genetically identical to Garfield creator Jim Davis. The implications of this are currently unclear. However, during surveillance of Mr. Davis by containment teams, he has complained of severe mosquito bites in the night, on a number of occasions immediately preceding 3166 manifestation. In order to contain 3166, the Garfield media franchise is to remain active and successful for as long as feasibly possible. Funding is to be provided to any Garfield media ventures via Foundation front companies present in the comic and film industries. Agents embedded within Paws Incorporated, which is the sole owner of the rights to Garfield, and Andrews McMeel Syndication, primary distributors of the Garfield comic strip, are to place targeted mimetic agents in outgoing comic strip, encouraging the retention of a sizable Garfield fan base, and discouraging Jim Davis from discontinuing Garfield. Agents are to monitor individuals at significant risk of attack from 3166. In the event of a 3166 manifestation, agents are to use supplied frozen lasagna to lure 3166 away from its target and dispatch it once out of public view. Any witnesses are then to be administered amnestics as appropriate for their level of exposure. The below article is an associated tale written by I Am the Oga on the 30th of August of 2018. I walk down the street on my way home after a long night. It's not yet fully raining, but there's still a slight drizzle about. I put on my waterproof jacket, but while it keeps me dry, it does nothing against the chill of the quiet night air. The office wasn't a pleasant place today. Apparently, the strip isn't doing so well, and the numbers are going down. Being a new hire is rough. I cannot say that the fading popularity surprises me. It's been the same stale strip for years now. But apparently, some investors were really upset. Some suits were prowling around today, asking questions and taking names. I stopped for a minute, pulling out my phone to confirm a sneaking suspicion. Yep, I went the wrong way. I shouldn't be anywhere near the park. It is easy to get lost in the rain. I sigh and turn around, resigning myself to another miserable 10 minutes of slogging through the rain. There is a figure in front, standing quietly under the street lamp. I stop again, mildly unsettled by this. I call out to him, asking if he is okay, but no response comes. Instead, the figure begins to plod forward, taking a step into the light. The baggy suit slumps and sags with each step. The matted orange fur too dirty to be slicked down by the rain. The lazy-eyed face is at an angle, crudely propped up upon the head, swaying as it advances. The tail drags in the puddles, only adding on to the stains already coating it and the rest of the body. It raises the old baseball bat it carries, picking up speed. I stumble back, begin to run away as my fear catches in my throat, emerging as a strangled cry. I alternate between turning around and glancing back over my shoulder, desperate to escape, but unwilling to let the thing out of my sight. It thumps the bat against the fence as it runs, sickening thwacks sounding with each blow. Too focused on the beast, I did not avoid the puddle, and my foot slides out from under me, sending me crashing to the ground. As the world whirls around me, seeing nothing but darkness and rain, a low, agonized meow sounds from above me, immediately followed by a crushing blow to the hip. I scream out in pain, but as I gasp for breath, a horrible, wet, tearing noise fills the air, accompanied by another guttural screech. Then, a dripping, slimy mass is slammed into my face, and my monstrous assailant begins forcing fistfuls more down my throat. Man, I hate Mondays. It wasn't new, but it hurt just the same. A small child sat at the base of a tree, surrounded by hundreds of children, pointing at him. The child's face was buried in his hands, his body bunched up with the knees held close to the chest. The small child rocked back and forth against the tree. The tree itself was oily black, with thousands of branches reaching far up into a bone-white sky. Small drops of blood leaked down from the tips of the branches to the base of the tree. Then there was a sudden change. In the distance, someone new was approaching. Someone else to judge him? Someone else to laugh at him? Or perhaps someone to finally put him out of his misery.
096.
The child looked up at the approaching pair of eyes, hidden behind a mask. It was SCP-049, the Plague Doctor. The children, the tree, and the sky all fell away. They were now in a cold white cell. The creature that used to be a child rocked in the corner, sobbing to itself and shaking. It was all bones and skin, with little muscle under the pale flesh that covered its body. The doctor approached the creature and looked down at it. An authoritative voice boomed from the speakers.
Now, deal with him. Good luck.
Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you a tale from the SCP Foundation. The creature's soft cries reverberated off the walls around the doctor. All loneliness and pain. He walked over to the monster and laid a hand on the top of its head. It stopped crying, and its breathing slowed. The doctor looked perplexed, as if he had expected another reaction. He recovered quickly and looked down at the creature while stroking the top of its head.
Child, you do not have to fear me. Please, let me see.
With his free hand, the doctor moved the creature's hands from its face. The thing let out a mournful cry as the doctor looked into its eyes.
I cannot save you.
Fresh tears began to stream down the creature's pale cheeks.
But I can help you.
Give me another 5 minutes with that pest, and I'll guarantee that he won't get out of here alive.
SCP-682 roared. The doctor looked down mournfully from the observation chamber above the cell. Pestilence, plague, he muttered to himself. Dr. Carver walked in, with a folder in hand.
Here you go. Info on what went down when we let these two at each other. Just some notes though, no footage. You'll have to use your imagination.
The doctor thanked him with a nod, then proceeded to study the notes as Dr. Carver exited the room.
682 has just swallowed 096. I can see movement in 682's abdomen. X-ray footage shows 096 has begun its attack on 682, frantically scratching from within. 682 roars in agony and rage as the side of its abdomen begins to tear and bleed. 096 is tearing its way out of 682, ripping out its ribs. 682 shows signs of distress, but nothing you would expect from a creature having their ribs pulled out. 096 is working his way towards 682's snout. He's stretching his arms and legs. 096 has broken 682's jaw, severely tearing the tissue around its mouth. 682 is sustaining severe damage from 096. However, it does not seem to be having a major effect on 682. Furthermore, 682 is already regenerating lost tissue. 682 snatches up 096 and begins crushing him. Using both forefeet, 682 rips all the flesh from 096's body, reducing him to a skeleton hanging from his own skin, held by 682. 682 leans over the skeleton of 096 and spews acid over its thrashing bones. 682 flings 096 to the opposite side of the cell. 096 remains dripping with acid as it flails about. 682 slumps and makes no attempts to attack 096. 096 begins to calm slightly and starts crying to itself in the southwest corner. 682 lies still in the north end of the room. Approximately 85% of its initial mass is absent. Recontainment teams retrieved 096 with relative ease.
The doctor closed the folder. It was a grim account of the never-ending battle between two immortal beings. It may never reach a conclusion.
Great sorrows in his cries.
The doctor was taken aback by 682's sudden somber tone.
I don't know why, but I feel sorry for him. The human. They locked us in here, experimenting on us, pitting us against one another. The humans hate us. I can see it in their eyes. They are the real plague on this earth.
Humans, the real plague on this earth, the doctor muttered. With this, the doctor pulled a bag from his robes and produced a syringe. He slowly reached out to the trembling creature.
You'll feel a slight pinch, but it'll be alright. Trust me.
The doctor could feel the creature resisting as he gripped its arm. There was fear in its touch, unlike the tickle monster. As the doctor held the joyful slime, he felt a sense of bliss welling up inside him, something he rarely experienced in the Foundation.
I wonder if 096 is capable of feeling such bliss.
Dr. Bright stopped writing and turned his attention towards the doctor and 999.
Well, you'd be surprised. When 096 breached containment, lots of people died that day. Our guards opened fire, but it was useless. They were mauled down mercilessly. Nines, being the curious one, might have followed the sounds of gunfire and screaming. When he found 096, it just went and hugged its leg. Didn't even think twice. Nines tried to stop its rampage. 096 was confused at first, then it turned angry as usual. It unleashed all its rage upon Nines. Poor Nines. He was torn to pieces, wholly unrecognizable for a moment. Even now, it breaks my heart to recall how I found him. Claw marks and uneven patches on his body. Chunks of spoiled slime everywhere. Nines' regenerative abilities simply couldn't keep up with 096's flurry of blows. Oh, how he begged and pleaded at 096's feet, all while enduring its abuse. Yet Nines didn't waver one bit. No matter how much 096 was tearing him apart, Nines just kept going back to it. When we arrived, they were hugging each other, crying their hearts out. However, unlike before, 096 sounded as if it was at peace. I remember on the way back, I was angry at Nines. You stupid slime! Why couldn't you just stay put? Why must you put yourself in dangerous situations? Why must you make me worry? But when Nines looked back at me, I felt grateful. As cliche as it sounds, it's funny how kindness managed to accomplish what guns couldn't.
Sounds of shouting and scratching echoed from within the containment cell door. The creature's wails grew louder and more intense. The doctor was trapped in a dilemma. He reflected on his own life. Curing the pestilence was his grand purpose, but here was someone suffering. Was he not a doctor? Was this not his higher calling? For a moment, he saw a glimmer of hope in the creature's eyes, underneath all that hatred, shame, and rage. Perhaps a key to cull the pestilence? The doctor then made his decision. He allowed the creature's head to go limp as he positioned the syringe right on top of its pale arm. With a slight application of pressure, the syringe slipped into the vein to deliver the medicine. Suddenly, the doctor and the creature were beneath the tree. The laughing children were gone. As he drew closer to the creature, he noticed shallow cuts with blood leaking out all across its body. He reached into his bag for something to staunch the flow when the creature's head suddenly snapped up to look directly at him. Its eyes were red and swollen, as if it had been crying for hours. The creature slowly stood up, then sprinted at the doctor with its arms outstretched. For a moment, the doctor was taken aback, the creature running into him in full force. It rocked him in place, then embraced him and sobbed into his robes. The doctor shook his head and tried his best to comfort it. The doctor sat down with the creature until security dragged him away. For a little while, the creature rested. For a little while, it was content and loved. Then somehow, it cried even harder.